I heard that Sinder has officially uploaded her so-called apology document as well, but I would read it right now, but this video is already hitting at least half an hour long. If I at least get 10 likes on this video, I will definitely upload me reading the whole entire thing and reacting to it on my next video, so...
3 days later...
A promise is a promise. Hello my hungries, it's my Threescoopes and welcome back to my Talking VTubing Space. Sticking true to my promise, I am about to read the infamous apology, which, by the way, I've heard from countless other videos, wasn't too good to begin with. I remember when I saw this comment while looking for this document. Before I even watched that video of her commenting on the whole Sinder situation, I remember briefly reading and liking this comment thinking, damn, Shy Lily did not hold back at all. And rightfully so. Shy Lily hardly makes comments like these, so you know you've messed up if you've pissed off Shy Lily enough to say something like this. And this is what she had to say. The absolute audacity to sit here and continue to manipulate and gaslight is absolute insanity. The pain and mental torment you've caused to the ones closest and most supportive of you has been devastating, and I have never been so heartbroken and hurt so badly for my friends. You are the fakest person I have ever had the pleasure of supporting. Reading and hearing of how you've really viewed me behind my back. Not just through the screenshots of your man, but also your very own messages while having to sit here and read through these bullshit lies you spin makes me want to vomit. The claim that you didn't know a single thing and had zero awareness of what your man was up to when everyone who shared even a single moment with you knows that you basically operate as the same person. Sharing every waking moment while loving to jump at the slightest opportunity to turn into your most slanderous self as soon as the opportunity was given, even when talking about your friends, is sickening. I have experienced your own actions without read, in a situation where in your own screenshotted words, you express a quote-unquote pressure to live up to what Lily is, and proceeded to throw one of your most loyal and supportive friends under the bus after months of continuous planning just because you consistently chose business over friends, never feeling bad for failing them. Just to earn the bag and compete with me over a V-card collab that you rescheduled to be on the exact date your friend needed you to keep an important promise. You actively lied about it to them, instead blaming me for a collab you rescheduled, adding me to the pool of excuses to save your ass. When you realized you were being a bad friend, why blame me for choosing to miss an obligation you agreed to on one of the most important days in that friend's career? Everything you do is out of competition through your constant need to one-up the people who are the sole reason you even have these opportunities and platforms to earn from to begin with. You're welcome, by the way. You claim that it's just business, quote-unquote. Well, in the business world, there has to be accountability, and all you've done is try to shove it away and admit to nothing. In true narcissistic fashion, you're only feeling sorry about yourself and your own consequences and your career and trying to salvage it. I mean, she's not wrong. I'm sorry for everyone who looked up to you as an inspiration, and I'm especially sorry for your fans. Pyro Pups deserve better. I was one of those Pyro Pups, by the way. But, you know, I've said this once before, and I'll say it again, especially after reading all of this. By the end of the day, it's all based off of someone's credibility, and whether or not who you choose to trust is based off of your own judgment, because by the end of the day, we personally don't know any of these VTubers/people. But with all of the evidence stacking up against Sinder, not to mention, one, from what I've heard, she chose to fire her boyfriend/manager in the end, while still claiming she had no idea of what was going on, even though there's solid proof saying otherwise. About how we feel, huh? Listen to those words. About how we feel. They're both a team. Both of them know. Reacted, but like at the end of the day, it isn't about how much we may compare to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Sinder is a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did. Get along. And the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up.
First of all, congratulations, Mr. Krabs.
Hello, I like money.
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money.
And this totally correlates to what Shy Lily, who personally knew her, is saying. So from all of the gathered evidence so far and the statements being claimed from people who personally knew Sinder compared to the average fan who was trying to defend her, or just another VTuber who's trying to shed some light into this horrible situation while personally not even knowing Sinder to begin with, that she just made mistakes and should learn from it. Blah, 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 it was all a mistake. If you ask me, there's a huge difference between making mistakes and then having malicious intentions. Spilling milk, forgetting something at home because you were in a rush, thinking your friend preferred Coke over Pepsi. Those are mistakes. Being plastic and pretending to be buddies with your so-called VTuber friends while trying to sabotage them behind the scenes, that's not a mistake. That's 100% intentional. Maliciously. 2, judging by the mass responses I've seen on YouTube, Sinder had taken zero accountability for herself from what I've heard, and I haven't even read the apology yet. And it also doesn't help that I further heard she cheated on said boyfriend/manager. I don't know how accurate that is, but if that's true, I think that speaks enough for itself. So with all of that said and in mind, I'm going to have the worst time reading this. So kick back and relax and listen to the background noise of me reading this 7-page document. There's nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. I'd like to explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. Of course, because you got exposed. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do and being a part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my divorce. It's no secret that many VTubers choose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me. And I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. I never intended to mention us publicly, but given that the claims are out there, I want everyone to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything together, his hyper-business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing. Here we go! To start up, I'm going to shove all the blame to my man. I knew nothing! I have a terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around projects and streams all day every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. More like you got exposed, and now you're just trying to salvage your career. This doesn't absolve me of the things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I've treated people who were fully undeserving. In regards to Nanoless, for the majority of the time working with her, Red was the one almost solely doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs. Nano had a project server we were all a part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations were focused around the work itself. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation over Nano's commission decisions, and I should have been more diligent in my oversight. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on a new commission with me, it had been willingly and with excitement. From my point of view, it was that she generally wanted to be working on these things. I wanted to work with Nano as much as I possibly could, making her art the face of my brand. We had come to the conclusion that it'd be in my best interest to talk with Nano about making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. This was wrong for us to push onto her, but she's being very vague about those parts when it mentions us. And it was wrong to the other creators who wanted the chance of working with her. You know, I'm just going to say it right here as someone who has taken psychology for her field outside of serving ice cream as a VTuber to all of you hungries. You would have to be really narcissistic to even think it would be okay to negotiate like this, thinking, you know what, I want this artist all to myself. I want them to only work for me, despite being so high in demand. And despite all of my VTuber friends wanting to work with her, screw them, I want her to only work with me. This is the right thing to do because it works for me. It's for my benefit and my advantage. It eliminates the competition without even considering how this will affect your so-called friends. You have to be pretty darn narcissistic and uncaring to begin with. From what I know, the irony in this is that her whole brand seems to be circulated around her and her friends, you know what I mean? At least as far as I've seen from her past tweets. It's always friends this, friends that. That seems to be what her brand was, pushing towards. Her love for her friends and how important they are to her. Oh! There was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pressuring Nano into reconsidering projects with. Not an entire list. Only one? Really? What about all of those censored? And then Shire Lily, and then Bao. That's not just one. Nano cancelled a large portion of her model commissions last September. However, the claim that I was just using her is wrong. I've always treated Nano with respect and as my friend. I did give her a lot of work and we did everything we could to accommodate her schedule if she needed more time or a break, and even helped her with her own project payments multiple times. I invited her on my stream. I've sent her my merch and things she's made for me, and I was always open to talking to her about things outside of our projects in the instances we would message each other. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. I was only aware of it being one person, who I was unfairly pursuing. When Nano had messaged me about this agreement almost a month later, I was under the assumption this was only about Silvervale. I was upset and my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy, but I wasn't going to force Nano to do anything she wasn't okay with and tried reassuring her that I was okay with her decision. Nano had also never come to me as seriously and professionally as her document was looking to address the issue she had with either of us, or to terminate our partnership. Really? So then, all of this was totally not it. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts, cause Red tried to talk to me, and I think I misunderstood things. And Sinder replies, I'm doing good, what's up, Nano? Nano, oh, it's mostly about this. And then they show a screenshot of Redacted. I thought I'm canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. Cinder, I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business. There it is again. I think by Cinder's standards, what she considers serious and professional, as in you're not going to submit to her whole slogan of it's just business, you have to treat it like it's just business, screw everything else. I had no idea there was even a conversation about Shy Lily recently between Red and Nano until reading her document. It's true I had confided in Red that lately I hadn't been hearing from Lily like I had in the past, and was worried if something was wrong. But that's as far as it went, and he took it upon himself to try digging for more info.
I shot the blame over to my man. I knew nothing. Everything was behind my back.
And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for another of my friends. Geary, I do not condone anything about what Red said about Bao in these DMs either, and him using we and R in this context is abhorrently incorrect, and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. Okay, I'm just going to be brutally honest here. I read ahead pretty much for most of this document. She's just dodging, and like Lily said, she's just shoving the blame over to her man. There is zero accountability in all of this, minus the fact that, oh yeah, I shouldn't have felt like this. It was mostly my boyfriend slash manager's fault by the end of all of this. They had zero knowledge of the backstabbing, despite being together for years and being my manager and boyfriend. Oh yeah, totally. He would do all of this without my knowledge and consent. 100%. We would not sit over and talk about this stuff, especially over breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Definitely not. Not at all. Not at all. Even if these DMs were from 2023, definitely not at all. And then towards the very last part of the document is where she starts doing her apologies, but let's just be brutally honest here. If her own so-called friends are not even taking account her so-called apology, I think that says a lot. By the sound of things, her quote-unquote friends are not buying her so-called apologies, and I also find it a little funny, a little side note here, that Neurosama, the AI VTuber, somehow predicted this whole entire mess happening from the get-go.
Your mother who will be killed by the trolley if you pull the lever, or your current future spouse who will be killed if you do nothing!
Can I ask what you do in that situation?
Well, I
I wonder what she would do.
really plan on settling down, so...
Oh, that hits really hard.
Wait, don't say anything. Are you scared?
Yeah. I'm scared that I'm gonna be accused of something I didn't do.
Being scared is a normal response to guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Higanuro is coming. Are you
It's so
guilty
over
or
for
not?
me. What should I do?
You should come clean.
Oh!
Things will get.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, my dear Hungries, this is where I'm going to be ending my video. I personally, of course, am not buying this BS of an apology. Let me know what your own thoughts are in the comment section down below. Feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next video. Lahidaka. Bye! Oh, and remember, it's just this.